it is important, the young people like me that lived under communism, for our voice to be heard, because sometimes, especially in this country, people identify Cubans with the old generation. They forget about the new generation. They forget that we live under communism and we have a story to tell too.
It's important that people lend us an ear and open their hearts despite them having a bunch of information that may sound contradictory to what we share. But when you hear a story from a Cuban who's lived it, you should definitely consider opening your heart and changing your mind.
Because one of the misconceptions that people have is that when it comes to Cuba, is that it's only the old people that's complaining, or it's an old generation. The young people, they're the one that leading the generation. They're the one that leading the voices. They're the one leading awareness.
Yeah, just growing up generally in Massachusetts, it's not like South Florida where there's a lot more awareness around the political situation on the island. But there's just a lot of misunderstanding of what's going on the island. A lot of people, when they hear about Cuba, or when I tell them that I'm Cuban, they'll say, oh, it's such a beautiful place. I love the classic cars and everything going on in the island. And what they don't know about, or what they really don't ever read about, is the oppression, the brutality that happens from the regime against its people. And it's always a pretty educational experience trying to convey that information to people that really, whether they're not interested in politics or just have never heard before, that we have such brutality going on 90 miles from our shores. And it's usually an eye-opening conversation, and it's a lot of people's first time ever hearing about the atrocities that happen on the island.
The Cuban people are not asking for the embargo to be lifted. We are asking for freedom, we are asking for basic human rights, and we are asking for the end of dictatorship in the island.